towering peaks of the Woolajezi Mountain in Lofa County, to the golden plains of Bomi River Basin, through the verdant greens of the Sapo National Park, a place where monkeys whisper secrets, and pygmy hippos tread unseen, from the valleys, to the roaring coasts of Monrovia, Buchanan, Harper, and Robertsport. These are the voices that travel unfiltered, uncaged, and unstoppable. Welcome to the Liberian Voices Unfiltered, the platform where we speak the languages of the land, celebrate the cultures of our people, beat the drums of our tribes, and dance to the rhythms of our identity. This platform is more than just a broadcast. It's a movement, a megaphone for the people. No scripts, no sugarcoating, no stage management, just the truth, pure, bold, and proudly Liberian. Tune in, turn up the volume, and join your host, George Senator Sibo, the Pan-Africanist, shaking the mic, breaking the silence, and speaking for the nation and its people. The Liberian Voices Unfiltered. All hail, Liberia hail. It is raw, it is real, it is authentic. From the bushes to the beaches, this is our voices, our truth, and our story. It must be heard.
Yeah. You're tuned into the heartbeat of Mama Liberia, where truth meets the people and every voice is heard. This is Liberian Voices Unfiltered.
Oh, we're speaking truth tonight. Liberia, let your voices rise.
From the streets of Monrovia to the hills of Nimba, we're bringing light where the truth's been hindered. Politics and power, let's break it down. We talk the real, no mask, no crown.
Economy shaking, but we still stand tall. Business and trade, we can uplift all. From the youth to the elders, we all gotta say. Unfiltered voices paving the way.
Liberian voices, unfiltered. Yeah, we tell you how it is, no filter. Liberian voices, unfiltered. The people's mic, the nation's mirror. From Buchanan to Bong, from Lofa to Cape Town, we talk the truth that really counts. Liberian voices, unfiltered. Yeah. You're tuned into the heartbeat of Mama Liberia, where truth meets the people and every voice is heard. This is Liberian Voices Unfiltered.
All right. Good evening, good afternoon. Hello, fellow Liberians, wherever you are, how well you are listening to us. This is the Liberian Voices Unfiltered, the station where we speak the truth. This is a podcast where we present issues exactly the way it is supposed to be. We speak truth to power because our paycheck is not coming from them. We speak in a way that the Liberian community wants to hear it. We address things in the manner in which it appears. This is the Liberian Voices Unfiltered with your host, George Senator Sibo. And today, like I said yesterday, we will be paying host to an illustrious son of the soil, a maritime professional, a father figure, a professional and a great man. EMMANUEL MEZOH DOLAKEH is a maritime professional and a seafarer with a wealth of experience in seafaring. And he has been working in the maritime sector for a period of iron now, or donkey years, if you want to refer to that. So we will be bringing him on studio. He will be telling us about his article. He wrote an article, like a journal, a maritime journal. He's going to be explaining to the Liberian people. And then for today, the topic that we're going to be discussing is a very nice topic. And we hope that people will join us. And you can go ahead, share the live, encourage people to join the live, and they can be able to give their comment. We'll be reading out some comment. We'll be reading out some suggestions when it comes to that. We all know that the Liberian Maritime program, or the Liberian Maritime, our Liberian registry, is one of the biggest contributor to our national revenue, to our income, our national budget. The Liberian Maritime program that has been run by LISCA is doing great in that direction. They're contributing a lot. So anything that has to do with a maritime discussion, I really wish many Liberians can tune in and listen, because Bulk of our money, yesterday, the budget that 1.8 billion, bulk of that money coming from the Liberian Maritime Program. So we are hoping that at the bottom of the live, you will see the link to any of our maritime professional colleagues that want to come in and chip in and give the piece. Like I said, this show is not going to be political. It's going to be professional. We are going to be discussing professional issues here. No political, no finger pointing, no calling anybody names here. We're just going to be talking strictly maritime, because maritime is very, very important to Liberia dispensation, especially now. The Liberian Maritime Program is the biggest program in the world. So today we'll be looking at seafaring. When you look at the topic, seafaring and its potential for national economic transformation in Liberia. So looking at the seafaring profession, what can it do to help Liberia? Even though we have the largest registry in the world by tonnage, Liberia got almost 5,600 and some more ships, vessels that are registered on our registry that are flying our flag worldwide. When you go to any maritime nation, any country, I will tell you, in one in every 4 ships or 5 ships in the world, you see Liberia flag on it. So that's how powerful when it comes to maritime our nation is. Our nation is a big dog. Let's put it that way. It's a big dog in the maritime sector, a very, very big dog in the maritime sector. So today, like I said, we're going to be bringing in studio Mr. Dolakeh, a seasoned maritime professional, and we're going to be touching base on some things here and there. He's going to tell you a little bit about his article that he wrote on the maritime sector on seafaring, how it can create a lot of transformation in our country. And then also we're going to be looking at the current maritime regulations that is on the president deck, the decentralization and the integration, according to what our legislator said, that is currently on the decks of our president to sign. And we all know when that document is signed, they're going to bring a lot of changes in the maritime sector. A lot of things going to happen. A lot of entities going to be affected. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Like I said, this show is not political. It is strictly professional. So if you have your professional opinion when it comes to the maritime sector, when it comes to the shipping industry, when it comes to port and shipping, or even the logistical aspect of the maritime sector, we will want you to come in with your input. So when you look on the live, there is a link. So you can click on that link. We can bring it in studio. You can be able to say 1 or 2 things, and then you can leave. So it's open for discussion. It's open. There is no politicking here. We want the discussion to be pure professional, maritime oriented and maritime based. So we are looking out to see some of our professional colleagues that are in Liberia and some maritime professionals that are around the world that have been following this program. Want you to come in, give your input, or you can give your comment. We can also read your comment out. If you don't want us to read it, we wouldn't have to read it. So very soon we'll be bringing in studio Mr. Dolakeh, so we can get to know much about things that are going on within our maritime sector. One of the biggest and most financially vibrant sectors that Liberia can ever boast of around the world, the maritime sector. So just keep tuned while I bring in studio Mr. EMMANUEL Dolakeh. Hello there, Mr. Dolakeh. Can you hear me, sir?
Good evening, Mr. Sibo.
Yes, sir. You are live in studio. Let me use the opportunity to say welcome to the Liberian Voices Unfiltered. This is a station where we speak truth. We speak truth. Make sure that things that are said are being said professionally. No curses are done on it. We just speak things the way it ought to be. So we all know today it's a big day for all of us. At least I'm seeing my professional colleague here. After a long period of time, we can come back on here to talk about our biggest denominator, the maritime sector in Liberia. Liberia is the only nation we have. We need to do everything we can to talk more about it to make sure that it improves. So let me give you some opportunity to tell the Liberian people who EMMANUEL Mezah Dolakeh is. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sibo. I'm thrilled to be on your platform, and I would just like to take this time to firstly appreciate you for what you've embarked upon. That is to inform our people on various topics of national concerns. More specifically, since we both come from the maritime background, to share some spotlight on the maritime industry. Uh, I'd appreciate it because I know the sector is a very unique sector, and from experience, not a lot of Liberians uh, have uh, greater insight or are aware of what is happening in the sector. And as part of our individual civic responsibility to our country, we, given the knowledge that we have and what the country has also spent, resources the country has spent on us to acquire the knowledge that we have, it is in keeping upon us individually and collectively to make our people aware of what is happening in the sector. And so, thank you for everything that you do. And from time to time, we will try to support your show as much as possible and to continue to continuously make our people aware of what is happening. Having said that, I'm not especially with talking too much about yourself. Uh,
No.
yes, I'm not. I want to delve straight into the discussion, but for the benefit of our audience, I am Emmanuel Mezoh Dolakeh. Uh, I'm a father. I'm a, a husband. I am a working man, professional man. I am a businessman as well. Uh, so since we are basically talking about, specifically talking about the maritime program, specifically seafaring, uh, we entered the maritime program around 2004. That was during the interim government period. And through the Bureau of Maritime, at the time, the Liberian Maritime Authority was known as the Bureau of Maritime Affairs. And then we were awarded a scholarship to go to the Regional Maritime University and do engineering in electrical electronics engineering with a specific focus in maritime discipline. And then after graduation in 2008, we were hired to work with the Liberian Maritime Authority, which later came into effect in 2010 through the act of the National Legislature. And then fast forward, we went for our postgraduate studies in maritime affairs with specialty in maritime safety and environmental administration at the World Maritime University. And we returned again to serve our country. And but before, in between the two degrees, we had some sped on sea, specifically on the two vessels that were being operated by the Firestone Rubber Company at the time, between 2008 did about in 2011. I had some time to sail on board those two vessels between here and in the United States and sometimes in Ghana. So yeah, so broadly between 2009 and up to now, I've been active as a maritime professional with a wide range of focus within maritime safety, maritime environmental protection, maritime security, administration, and the rest. So I'm thrilled again to be here, and I hope our engagement today will be educative and worthwhile. Thank you again, Mr. Sibo.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dolakeh. I mean, your background is so strong, my man. When I hear engineering part, Jack, I mean, I say electrical, electronic engineering. That's a big one, and it is very very important for Liberians or our maritime community to know that we got tons and tons of professional maritime people in Liberia, people that have gone, far and wide in terms of broadening the horizon in education, in training, and practical experience on exactly what maritime should be like and what seafaring like. So, but before we delve into your article, the article you wrote in 2020 2025, right? 2020, June of 2020, you wrote that article. So I want you to tell me a little bit about what was your seafaring experience like. How was your experience on board? How was it?
Okay, thank you. Just just before come to the article, so seafaring is my passion. Though I'm not actively sailing, but it's my passion because I want for that opportunity to be exposed to more and more Liberians, especially our youth, uh, for just one few reasons. One, I think it is I have the passion because one, I understood that I didn't actually grow up with my father, but I understood that he did sail briefly, and but I didn't comprehend what sailing was at the time because I didn't know anything about the maritime sector, and again, I didn't grow up with him. So when I was at the regional maritime university, and then I had to come for a vacation, I made a stop with him at his place because I came by way of the road through Abidjan and then through Nimad. And I hail from Nimad, by the way. So I made a stop there. And then he decided to, knowing that I was in maritime school, and we chatted. That's when he decided to open up to me to tell me that he did sail before as a cook on board the ship. Uh, but at the time, uh, all their wages were being put, I think, Chase Manhattan Bank at the time,
Chase Manhattan.
and
Yeah.
with the hope that when they should have returned back home, they will have access to the account where they can take care of themselves. Uh, Unfortunately, when they returned, they ran after that their own money for which they worked. They could not, they didn't get it.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
that was like a entire savings from working on board a ship, and that frustration took him to the countryside at the time, and he stayed there and make life the other way. So hearing that story and my own story as well, having a brief spell on board the Firestone vessels, the two vessels, both have their colors and then have their tapper. And I wanted to have actually climbed the ladder to have become, because I'm from an engineering background, so the highest uh, post of office you do acquire on board a ship will be chief engineer. So that
Yes.
would take, yeah, 10, 15 or so years of consistent sailing. And even I didn't attain the position of chief engineer, I wanted to either become an officer, first engineer, second engineer. But again, that we didn't have that opportunity, and so we had to look elsewhere. And so we have to, it was just an a cadetship training, and we didn't manage to become officer, and we have to come to show and then find another pathway to in our career. So with that burden goal that I didn't achieve as a seafarer, and looking back to the story of my father as well, I said that yes, even though I did it, my father didn't get there. I didn't get there as well, but it is uh, the onus is upon us to contribute as much as possible to create the opportunity for those who are beyond us to achieve the greater heights in seafaring.
Okay. I mean, definitely. I mean, when you I don't know if it was a coincidence for your father's situation and your own situation, but let me just ask you this quick question, right? You think it's too late for you to work on board ship if you are given the opportunity today and the training that you require? You think it's late?
Yes, sure, it's too late.
So you
It's
know
too
what I'm
late.
saying? The old officer, the old cadet on board the ship, right? I know, but I mean, we can still contribute by other means. And you get the maritime training institution, and you know they got different things you can still contribute in terms of even making. And I can see you guys are doing great. Most of, especially you guys that work with Liberian Maritime Authority, and you know people are doing great in terms of contributing towards the maritime sector. A lot of people there will not see it, but I can tell you, as long as our flag keep flying on some of those ships, that means the sector is doing well. Things are happening. So okay, so let us talk a little bit about your article, the article you wrote. I've seen the topic a pro means of empowering Liberian youth, seafaring as a pro means of empowering Liberian youth. And I believe that you wrote this on 2020 Seafarers Day, right? Was it something that you published that day of it? Okay, good. So do you want to tell our audience or the Liberian people what inspired you to write this article and what is it all about?
All right. So since you mentioned the Liberal Maritime Authority, so let me be fast to put up this disclaimer. Uh, I do work with the Liberal Maritime Authority, and I've done so for the last 17, 18 years. And so my appearance here today is in no way in my official or professional capacity as an employee or senior staff of the Liberian Maritime Authority. So everything I do say here today is purely from my personal and professional experience outside the workings of the Liberian Maritime Authority. So everything is my professional experience, personal experience. I know it's difficult to to draw a line
Yeah,
between the two.
to draw that line,
Yeah,
and
I will
I
try
just
to be as professional as much as possible to not make it appear like I'm speaking on behalf of the Liberian Maritime Authority
of
or yes. So I just want the public to know that my appearance is basically to share with our people the basics about seafaring, what impact can it make on our economy, the lives of our youth, and yes, just basically that. So try. I hope yes, I encourage you as well, so we can stick in line with those.
yes. So, Mr. Dolakeh, thank you so much. Let me also emphasize on the disclaimer. I told people even from yesterday, our discussion here is not political. It's not linking to any government. We're just giving our professional opinion or professional thoughts on issue, on experience. And so Mr. Dolakeh here is not speaking, as he said, for Maritime Authority or for any governmental institution. He's speaking from his professional and standpoint, from his experience on board some of those vessels. So I hope the disclaimer is very, very clear. Nobody going to say, oh, the man was speaking for Maritime. They will know. Anything he say here is an individual thing he's saying, not for any government institution or whatsoever. So thank you, Mr. Dolakeh, for pushing out that disclaimer, because I know the society that we live in, and I'm very happy about that. So now, Can you tell us about this, your article, the article on seafaring, a purple means of empowering Liberian youth? What is it all about? What inspired you to write that?
Okay, so thank you for that question. I was about to read at the article when I mentioned the experience of my father and then my own experience on board a ship. And then that was around 2020, thereabout. So we had, he's one of my mentors, Dr. James Colley, and then Maritime Commissioner. So he encouraged us maritime professionals and then staff, not just staff within maritime, but outside in the sector. He introduced the Marine Monitor magazine that was meant to the same thing, to create awareness in the public space when it comes to happenings or activities or training events in the maritime sector, especially nationally. So whereas a lot of articles, I was also part of the initial board, the editorial board of that magazine. And what I saw was few of my colleagues were writing a lot of hard and theoretical stuff in the magazine. And I thought that, firstly, the public is not that much aware of the maritime sector. So to start to go at a high level to explain, deeper things is difficult for the people to comprehend. So my own thinking is that if we are writing such articles within the sector, we should be able to relate to the understanding of our people and what impact can that anywhere in the social economic life of of the country. So I decided to highlight the issue of seafaring. And then since it was around 2020, that was within the time we had a purple agenda. And so I decided to tailor it that if we do invest in seafaring, it could be an effective pro national development mechanism to employ a lot of young people. So that's why you see the title of the article coined that way. And so yes, just only highlighting what our regulations, our laws say about seafaring, the potential of training and all of those things, and what's the pathway in terms of bringing young people on board, training them, and all of those. But that's the from which I drew on to write that article. Fast forward, nothing happened though after I wrote that article. And then fast forward, that was 2024, just 2 years ago. I did change the title of the article slightly to Seafaring, a viable pathway to empowering Liberian youth. That was on the current administration. So I've published that article. So what I did, I updated that article to current statistics and then changed the title slightly and then published that article again in, I think, the Inquirer newspaper at the time. The first one was published in Data Observer. And yeah, a big thanks to them, both Data Observer in 2020 and then Inquirer newspaper in 2024. I didn't give them a penny and they were able to publish those two articles. So basically, just to set the tone, that's what actually went into that article.
All right. I mean, that's a very good thing. I will tell people sitting and writing, it requires a lot of research. You're not just going to sit down and, just taking off your head. You need data. You need information. And you got to process that information to fit into exactly what you want to talk about. I'm happy that you published that article. I mean, are you thinking of publishing it like online into maybe on maritime, on some maritime website, because they do allow maritime professionals, and to publish such articles, so that at least other people can see it, and then when they use it, they can be able to reference you in the future that some of those things are your idea. You know what I mean? So I hope that you can look into publishing it on the web page or on the website, so that other people can have access to it, not only just the local daily, so people can be able to see it internationally or worldwide, to be able to reference some of your work on it. I know how it is to write, because right now, as I speak to you, I'm writing a book. I know how much effort, how much time every day I have to put in that thing. So hopefully soon the book is going to come out, and Liberian people are going to see it. I'm going to write something on for our students, and not you do not care, you get degree for our primary and secondary school students. It's on civic education, because when you look at Liberia, you know how far we've gone. Civic education have gone outside, so trying to do something in that direction. So I know exactly how it takes to write those kind of things. Require a lot of research and things. Okay, so just to pick it back to our discussion. So the article you wrote, I went to it and I was able to digest some stuff on there. So your article was linking a youth employment to Liberia broader development agenda. They tried to link youth employment to Liberia broader development agenda. So why are you considering that seafaring is important enough to elevate our national conversation, so that Liberian government can help in sponsoring seafaring program that will create jobs for the young people?
Thank you for that question. So basically, I would start with this from my experience on board, right? In as much as my seagoing program was not a full-fledged seafaring program, where was hired by the owners of the ship, and then on my own or something, and then it was not a full-time, let me put it that way. Right, so I was hired by the Liberian Maritime Authority, or the Bureau of Maritime Affairs at the time, 2009, and this came as a cadetship program. So that means my salary came from the Bureau of Maritime Affairs, or the Liberian Maritime Authority, and so what we were receiving on board the ship was basically just stipend or something, not full seafarer salary at one level. Let me
But you are
make
kidding
that
now.
clear.
Can I get me full pay? Can I feeling now?
Exactly. That was the purpose.
I know exactly how it is. No one gonna pay you full pay for kid.
Yeah. So I'm saying this to mean that even though I was not fully paid as a seafarer at the time, but just the brief time I stayed on board, and so many advantages. One, your salary or wage, monthly wage that you are receiving, you if you are disciplined enough, financially disciplined, it's like you will save a very good portion of that wage, and then you can come back home and invest into a lot of areas. So, for example, you do eat like 3 times a day on board a vessel. It's not coming from your wage. You have also given some basic supplies in terms of water, laundry, and all of those things. So basically, what you spend on board the vessel in terms coming from your salary, except you very social, you want to go out in every port you enter, you want to go out and hang out, and then of course you have to spend. So the basically is that, yeah. Do you want to come in?
Yeah. So just to emphasize on the cadetship, I was a cadet. I worked on board military vessels as a cadet. I spent 1 year as an officer cadet on board, and then there's Nigerian Navy ship Thunder, which is the second largest ship that Nigeria has. It's a frigate, a very huge, long ship, long length of a football field. So that's the kind of asset that Nigeria have military. So I work on board. that ship for a year. Me and my colleagues, Kamara and Sharif, were on that ship for one whole year. And I see that it was just what you say in the cadetship program. There are a lot of opportunity you can have on board because all your allowances come to you. You don't get nowhere to spend it. The money stay in your pocket because food is free on board. Everything on board, laundry is free. Everything you eat on board, drinks are there, they are free. Once you serving on board those vessels, you will have all your money packing in your pocket. The day you come outside, you can use them. So definitely, I agree with you. It's a very good thing for you working as a seafarer. It can create a lot of opportunity for you to save money on board, on board that. So because I'm a first-hand example of that. When I left from Nigeria, when we came back home, our lady thing we save were able to buy ourselves car as officers in the officers are about to be driving. So we know how much money we're able to save on board. So definitely, seafaring can give you opportunity for that, And this brings me to another question based on your article. So why should Liberians see maritime employment as a national economic opportunity?
Thank you so much. So, just to piggyback a little on the why seafaring should be attractive. So, apart from the salary, the attractiveness of the salary, you talk also about the stability of the industry. So, it's not local such in a way that when the local economy is affected, affected, then maybe your job or your profession, your career or your job might be affected. So it's international and global. Yep. So it would take a lot of global, some significant event or some global nature to really disrupt that sector. So in terms of a lot of jobs on shore, it's highly stable. That's the second thing. Two, in addition to the wage, most often when you're home in country and working, the tendency for what are relatives, friends, and the rest to reach out to you in terms of requesting a lot of help, handouts, is high.
Yeah, I know, right? So people the seafarers are senior people, they can keep their mind in the pocket because no mobile money there, no way.
That's it.
You can
yes. So
but let me tell you this, like your man Elon Musk spot the whole thing. The men I bring
I tell you, the Starlink.
The man brought Starlink, my man. You can use Starlink
everywhere. They use
so nobody can be on board. They say, "Oh, my mobile money a lie." You can say you said it.
I know, right? That's a very brilliant point. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because
Starlink, nobody can give you excuse. Oh, my internet a lie. You can be on the farm. You see the advertisement, right? People in the middle of the ocean swimming on Kino and on the phone browsing. Yeah. Technology have really hit. Yeah, I was just to bring that part there. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Because when we're on a Firestone ship, when we leave Monrovia, we'll see it for like 2 weeks before we get to the US, the coast of the US. And so within the 2 weeks period, you are completely out. I was completely out of internet. We have to get to the US and then we go to the Seafarer Center before you are hooked up to the internet, and then you start to communicate with the family. So that's a very good point you brought out there. It has changed a whole lot with regards to the social impact of life of the seafarers. So that's very key. So just to close up on that, lastly, I will also hone in skills development. So if you work on board vessels, you are in a position to acquire so many skills.
Yes, definitely.
That when you return back on shore, those skills will be highly needed in the local industry. So, for example, because a ship is a floating land, right?
Yeah.
So, and because of the nature, the hazardous nature and the isolation where you work, you just few people have to manage all the operation on board the vessel. So you
Yeah.
cannot depend on one or two persons for everything. So what it means is that because you have to know my job, I have to know your job.
Yeah.
Because if you have an issue tomorrow or you fall sick and you cannot do your particular job, the rest of the crew will now wait on you to get well. They have to
Hmm.
step in.
Yes.
Otherwise, if the vessel sinks or there's emergency or something, the vessel sinks, all of you people are dead.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's like learn a variety, even though you are engineer working in the engine room, but if possible, you will learn something on the bridge or on the deck. So that's how it's like. You'll learn something about painting, you'll learn something about welding, you'll learn something about machine machining, which is workshop technology. So many things you learn there while you are there. So
So
if you acquire all of those skills, even if you are retired and come back home, you are still needed in the workforce of the country. So that's one of the key attractiveness we should be honing when it comes to seafaring.
yeah, I
Having
agree with
said
you.
that,
Yeah. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
having said that, why should we look more to seafaring? Why do we
Yes.
think that seafaring is a key component that can greatly impact our economy when it comes to job creation, foreign direct investment, or having foreign exchange in your country, foreign currency coming into your country, and what have you. So, firstly, you should, like I said from the beginning, shipping is global. That's one. Two, Liberia is the leading or largest provider of quality ships. So it leads when it comes to quality shipping. Not only that, but we, in terms of the gross tonnage of ship, the size of ship, we are the largest. Liberia leads in that. Panama has too many ships, but in terms of the average size, Liberia leads that by far. So even though the number
Yeah.
of ships Liberia has is few, but in terms of the average size of ship, we have bigger vessels than Panama. And the actual money comes from the size of the vessel because the
Yeah. Yeah.
tonnages, fees are measuring tonnages. So that's why we lead in that. And so we have currently around 90 plus, 94,000 plus commercial vessels. That is from around maybe 100 gross tons and above. Over 94,000 commercial vessels or fleet sailing around the world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Out of those 94,000 plus vessels, they are manned by over 2 million plus seafarers.
Definitely. A
So
lot.
imagine if we, given our population and given the foothold, our foothold in the maritime sector when it comes to vessel registration, if we can even have a percentage of the 2 million, whether 10,000, 5,000, and what have you, the, the,
0.02%.
the
We get this
effect, yes,
0.02. Just
exactly.
little fraction of it.
Just little, the ripple
Mm-hmm.
effect that will be felt on the economy will be so hard. I always make this analogy. We had a UN at the time we had Media, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Media were providing jobs for people. We had expatriates as well as Liberians working. And then when Media left, we felt the impact. Nationally, we felt the impact. People's houses were they couldn't find people to rent out of those things, and yes, the economy failing. So imagine if we focus as a national agenda, development agenda, in line with the African Maritime Charter that requires every country should have a national seafaring program. If we include such a program in our national development agenda, making sure that within the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years, we can train incrementally this amount of number of seafarers, whether 5,000, 10,000 or so Liberians. Imagine, and when you are talking about the number, don't forget, calculate that by the minimum wage of seafarers. The minimum wage of seafarer for now should be around 600 something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
690 currently. It's around $690.
And not to call you out with that, right? So that the discussion can flow. You know what I mean? So just what you're saying, like you mentioned, you remember you talk about the work being in cross-related training, right? Where everybody can learn little about everybody's job. Where you got to learn little about everybody's job. And the way the maritime sector work, and you know, from my experience on working on board a ship, once you go and get that endorsement, for example, you learn how to weather, you get that weather endorsement, you get additional pay. You learn how to become a firefighter, you get that endorsement, you get additional pay. You get what I'm saying? So you can have you and somebody can spend 5 years as seafarer, your pay almost 2 times their pay because of the amount of endorsement you get. And you know, just to pick it back to that, plus your current baseline pay, and you know, that's a very, you can make a very good money. And imagine on board, you're not buying soap, you're not buying food, you're not buying anything. When that money in bulk, see how much remittance can come back to Liberia. And you know what I mean? So I just wanted to point that out. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, that's a good point as well. Add there. So in terms of why we should go seafaring, we are not trying to disparage or overlook other land-based or show-based jobs, but we are saying that seafaring, if we approach seafaring to integrate seafaring to our national development program, where we will gradually increase the number of seafarers. Like you rightly said, a very young person. In my article, I mentioned that seafaring is a key thing. I think I should highlight this. Seafaring is a highly apprenticeship job.
Yeah.
We are not saying that seafaring is not academic as well, especially as we drive, the world now is being driven by technology and all of those things. The pressure on seafarers to rise up to the knowledge of technology and all of those things, new technology, is still high. However, unlike some jobs where you will find that is highly theoretical, seafaring is practical. Meaning, you can even leave the 9th grade know how to read and write in junior high school. In our law and basically in International Maritime Convention, as a seafarer, you should be at least 16 years. Even at 16 years, you are limited to doing certain jobs. You are not a full-fledged seafarer. But from 18 thereabout, you can do any other job on board a vessel. So imagine we're taking somebody from maybe a 9th grade graduate, knowing how to read and write, and then send that person on sea, and starting with a basic minimum salary. You have experienced hands all around you, from the captain to the chief engineer, the rest of the officers. They are going to train you as long as you are disciplined and willing to learn. And so once you complete that level, you come back to shore, you take your advanced course, you are returning back to sea in a higher capacity, like you mentioned earlier, meaning your salary, your wage will now be increased. If you continue that for the next 10, 20 years, you become chief engineer or captain, you are talking about around 15,000 or so USD per month.
Per month? Yes,
depending on the ships you go. So from our estimate, what we said is that sending those number of Liberians to sea and just multiplying the average basic monthly wage, that is excluding overtime, that is
Yes.
excluding other
And,
benefits that
and
add up to your
overtime on
salary.
board a ship, overtime on board a ship can
Don't
waste.
joke of it.
Because see, you know that there's shortage of seafarers. You know that one, right? There's a shortage of seafarers. So overtime is another big thing. So if somebody tells you your basic pay is 60,000 or 75,000 or 80,000 a year, when you add overtime, you're talking about almost 2 times that amount. 2 times that amount. So that's a great point that you just raised.
Yeah. So just using a basic salary, just using a basic wage, unlike seafaring now, or like unlike the past, before they come into force of the Maritime Labor Convention, any ship owner could pay seafarers anyhow, right? But they coming into force of the Maritime Labor Convention,
MLC, yes.
which is basically the bill of rights of seafarers in terms of decent working and living condition. It has added more value to seafaring, and so no ship owner can just pay anyhow. No,
Yeah,
you'll
no.
be in violation
Yes.
of
There is a
Yeah.
baseline. You
There's a
can
baseline.
like a minimum wage. They have minimum wage. So you gotta
Yeah.
either pay the minimum wage, which is still good, or you
Yeah.
pay above. And now that we
Exactly.
have shortage of seafarers around the world, and nobody want to go minimum wage. Nobody want to go minimum. You got to go far above that. And so I appreciate the points you are brought in. And we have to be a little bit fast about going about these things, and because of time. So I want you to talk a little bit, because a lot of people tend to get confused. How come we got all these ships? You just mentioned it, we got all that ton, and we the largest in terms of tonnage. We got so many ships, 5,000 or more ships flying our flag. And how can Liberian are working on board, all the things? So people tend to ask me those kind of questions, and I told myself, okay, there are some things. This question is leading towards you giving some light on the traditional registry, and then the open registry, or the flag of convenience. And because that would be able to inform people on why is it that some of these things are going on, and what I say some of the policies are in place, and even brought down to the fact that small Liberia, how can Liberia got involved with all the people ship when there are other big countries around the world, what attracted all those people to us? So I want to throw small light on the flag of convenience or open registry, and that of the traditional registry. You getting me? And then how does it play out between there? Yes. Just summarize it quickly so we can move on to the next topic.
Okay, so quickly, let me just throw light on that. So I will classify basically the registry, flag registry is classified both in terms of closed registry and open registry. And I know in between they have a mix of hybrid and all of those.
Yeah, hybrid.
But
Yeah, hybrid
from the
too. Yeah.
two extreme, we'll have the closed registry and the open registry. So the closed registry, of course, is the traditional way wherein the owner of the ship has to be the same nationality as the flag that has been flown by the ship. Right? That also means that even though working on board the ship, the crew, the seafarers, have to also be the nationality of that same country.
All right.
Basically,
that is the traditional one.
That's the traditional one. Because I know international maritime law stresses the issue of genuine link. So
genuine.
Yes, there should be some genuine link to your country of anywhere, nationality, the country from which you come from. So that's basically the closed registry. So what gave birth to the open registry? Of course, During World War II, most of those commercial vessels being produced at the time were all sent for warfare, right? And after World War II, 1945, they had no use for these vessels. And so they needed to decommission these vessels as military vessels or naval vessels and then use them for commercial purposes. So they have to modify some of them and turn them into cargo vessels. And so, and not only that, but the shipping is a business and it has to be profitable. Any business has to be profitable, otherwise, not a business. And so, ship owners wanted to also have be exposed to more profit. And so, for example, being an American or a Greek running ship in accordance to your laws, but once that vessel is flying your flag, that vessel practically is honoring your laws and regulation. So, under international maritime law, they say that the vessel is an extension of your country.
Definitely.
So flying Liberia is an extension of Liberia. So meaning that every law I apply.
Just to hold you there a little bit, just to give an example. So that means if a vessel flying the American flag is arrested, that means you have arrested an asset of America. So that means it's America that is going to go there and negotiate on that vessel, not the vessel owner. You're going to go and negotiate on that vessel behalf. So those are some of the privileges you receive when you fly a nation flag, right?
Yes.
I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Very, very true. So at that time, ship owner felt that it was not profitable flying an American flag where you have to hire Americans, or flying a Greek flag where you have to hire Greeks, and because the living standard in those countries. So traditionally, shipping has been either Europe or the Northern Hemisphere, America and the rest. And so, flying any flag from these countries, meaning that you have to hire a crew from there, and with the living standard so high, meaning the ship owner will spend so much money on the operational cost of running the vessel, right? So, the term of open registry started to be birthed. And so they started to turn to smaller countries like Panama, Liberia, Marshall Island, and those smaller countries. Smaller countries that have weaker laws, right? Because the flag of countries that have very strong, rigid laws, the ship owners will have to abide by them, which is very costly to them. So they have to go to countries with weaker laws. So, and at that time again, let's not forget that there was no Maritime Labor Convention at the time.
No,
so ship
not at all.
Pay the crew based on the laws of the country, on whose flag you are flying, right?
Yeah.
So if the living wage in that country is so high, then the ship owner will have to pay about that. So if they do leave and come to a smaller country like Panama or Liberia, where the living standard low, right? You will have the laws of Panama or Liberia will apply on board the vessel. And so the ship owner became so attractive to the ship, they have to pay according to the living wage of Liberia or Panama. So that's why the open registry just exploded. Again, in the open registry, let's get that clear. So we talk about the closed registry where the ship owner, the crew, and all of those people have to come from that particular country. The open registry, that's what makes it so good. You can be a Greek national ship owner. The only thing you should have a Liberian company or company registered under the laws of Liberia to create a genuine link. Right?
Yeah.
So if you're Greek or whatever nationality, you have to create that company with a Liberian laws. Once you do that, that can be the ship owner. That's a legal person. And then you can hire seafarers from anywhere. Those seafarers don't necessarily have to be Liberians. That's the flexibility of open registry, right?
Yeah. Yes, of
So
course.
that's it right there. So and so that's why when we hear some Liberians saying we have Chinese, Filipinos, different people sitting on board our vessels, it is within the ambit of the open registry. Ship owner has the leverage or the latitude to employ anybody from anywhere as long as you are the team you fit and in accordance with the standards of training, watch keeping and certification, the STCW convention, as well as other maritime conventions. So basically, I just want to, that's the main difference between the two extreme of ship registry.
Good, good. I like the way you put it. I like just is something like people when people ask me, I say, listen, traditional registry, the ship has to be registered in the country where the owner is from, and open registry, you just have to connect to have a genuine link with Liberia, like establish a business, and then you can register a ship on Liberia. But you are not mandatory to carry Liberian seafarers. You get me? I think that is a part where a lot of people are a little confused. You're not mandatory, you're not forced under the law to have Liberian seafarer. But I mean, there are things that can happen. For example, the global language for maritime is English, right? So Liberia, we are English speaking. We can speak English. We can read English. We can read English. You get what I'm saying? So I think it put us in a better position, a better spot to become a seafaring, a seafaring nation. Because you remember, they got different under the state of shipping. The shipping does on a various ship. They got post state, they got flag state, they got coastal state, and then the new variable that came in called the cruise state. Cruise state, like for example, you got a country like the Philippines, where you have Filipino crews on most of those ships because they speak good English, they can read and write English. So instead of going to train somebody that will learn English before they can work on board the ship, you got Liberians that can speak English, that can read and write English. Our first language is an advantage. You get me? So I think Liberia is still an advantage. All that we need, the government need to tap in is to make our maritime education and training program robust, right? So that you can get more seafarers. I mean, I know discussion can be held behind the scene. Even though those vessels that fly our flag, they are not obligated to hire Liberian seafarers according to the laws on the book. But I believe the Liberian seafarers are well trained. They get all of the required, certification and training. Who don't want to do business with Liberian people that fly the flag, especially the wages is not going to be so high. So I just want you to throw some light on that too, so that our listener can understand, what happened, contributing to some of the reason why we don't have a lot of Liberians, seafarer that is working on board those vessels that are flying our flag.
Yes, thank you. So, yes, of course, English is the official language of the maritime sector, especially shipboard language, as per the IMO regulations. We have a number of languages, of course, French, Spanish, but on board shipboard language, the official is English. So you are 100% correct, unless either maybe 100% of the crew, let's say the entirety of the crew speak a particular language, then they don't have to. They don't have to anywhere. That everyday communication doesn't have to be English. It can be a particular language. However, from within.
If they're communicating within, they can speak any other. They can speak their Pele, their Basso, and things. But when you're communicating with other shit, you have to use the official channel of communication, the official language. Yes.
So you are 100% right. With Liberia, that's why even Philippines, America to some extent, you see what America has some historically very strong influence and over Philippines. So and based on that, they do speak good English. So the basis you live very key. So Liberia being an English speaking country as well, especially with is something that you play in our advantage, right? However, let me just put another layer to it, to that. Seafaring, as I mentioned earlier, is becoming more and more advanced with technology and all of those things coming into play. And so, with the standards of training, certification, and watch keeping, the STCW convention placing emphasis on highly competent seafarer. That means we need to train quality people, not just the English. It's a good foundation, but we, in the case of Philippines, mentioned Philippines, right? We do have port state. Liberia is a big flag state. We know we register vessel. We are port state because we have ports and vessels of international starters are coming to our port, right? We are also a coastal state because our shores are exposed to the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, where ships do ply. So we have the fourth layer that they call seafaring producing states. So in the case of Philippines is known for producing seafarers.
Yes.
Whereas Liberia is known for registering ships, Philippines is known for producing seafarers. So they often say Philippines is a seafaring producing nation. Philippines is a seafaring producing nation because they have so many. Yes, of course, when you talk about the English, that's one, but essentially they have so many maritime institutions, schools, over hundreds. They even have so many, so many even before that. But with the interaction with EU and in terms of certification, they have to close some of those maritime institutions. But even as at now, they still have over 50, close to 100 seafaring training institutions in Philippines. And so, and because you have so many institutions, it's even cheaper. Someone will even treat it practically free just to go and you start to pay them later. So it's a business.
Yeah. So, Mr. Dolakeh, let's say this, right? Like I said, because of time. So, you think, looking at, we already qualify for the three. You just mentioned how come we fit into the three. We have flag state, the biggest. We got coastal state, we got coast, and we got port state because we got port in. So now, we already have the first advantage, which is English, which is a very difficult part for a lot of other countries. You get me? We already have English as the basic first. So do you think that the government can focus more in terms of maritime education and training, like creating robust and expanding? LMTI is good. I mean, like expanding LMTI and encouraging Liberians to, to participate into the seafaring thing while the government is out there negotiating with ships and things to take Liberian seafarers on board. Because when you have the required standard of training, people will need you, right? People will need you. They don't even need to go talk for you. People will know that you have this training, especially when your institution, your maritime training institution, is being publicized out there. Because one of the things I think we Liberian we are lacking in terms of publicity. International publicity, we lack publicity. We can have some good schools, but how many people know those schools out there? You getting me? So yeah, so I was just like looking at you think the government should pay some attention when it comes to like a maritime training institution and encouraging Liberians to become a seafarer?
Exactly. That's my point. Even when you look at it, read the article, that's just what I was trying to drive home. So we need to give it to LMTI. Liska is doing fantastic, a very good and fantastic job with LMTI. I went to the Regional Maritime University. If you compare the facility at the Regional Maritime University with the facility at LMTI, stark difference. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't been to LMTI. Oh, I followed their program. I see some stuff.
Yeah. The setup is very good. It's top notch. So let's commend Adam and Liska for what they are doing. We think that we can do more. That's why when I mentioned that in the African Maritime Charter, they mentioned that every African country should develop a national seafaring program. That means we'll need to expand the intake or the facility at LMTI. And if possible, to be a little bit radical, I would even think that we should also encourage maybe establish strong link with Philippines, where we can even
Yeah.
attract some additional schools, maritime training institution, just for seafaring. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about getting degrees. We need people to
Yeah.
get a job. So if we can train these nautical vocational courses to enable people to go to sea, that's what we should be focusing on. We should integrate that into our national development plan, because the advantage or the contribution from seafaring in terms of its impact on the economy is so huge. Just a quick one, just 2024. I mentioned the global seafarers around 2 million, right?
Yes.
Philippines alone accounts for almost a quarter of that. That's about
You see?
500,000
Just from
seafarers
Philippines.
just from Philippines.
So
Just last year alone.
imagine if Liberia can contribute even 25,000 to seafaring, to the seafaring community. Do you know how many youth, how many young people, you getting me, will be employed? And do you know how many remittance will come back to the country? You get what I'm saying? So that's the reason why. Yeah, that's the reason why you see when we talk about the maritime sector, people don't know it, and a lot of people don't want to. They don't pay attention to it because they don't even know the potential it has. So the few days I was sitting there trying to compare the maritime sector with agriculture sector. Agriculture sector in Liberia can create more jobs, and the maritime sector can create another big jobs. You get what I'm saying? Those are sectors that can be open. And so I just spent to show some light on that. And on the issue of allowing, linking the Philippines. Like I said, they got a lot of schools, they got a lot of instructors. You getting me? And how much money do they pay those people? The government can attract some of those people. You getting me? LMTR can be expanded to take in more seafarers, more cadets, and train them. Even though it's expensive, we understand it can be expensive. But that's what you said. I think the government should put more attention in terms of providing more resources, and providing scholarship and other programs that can able to incorporate a lot of Liberian into the seafaring thing. Yeah, go on, Mr. Dolakeh. Go out. Just want to show light on that part of it.
Just to close on that, for example, the Philippines, like I said, they have about 500,000 plus seafarers. Just 2024, they remitted a little over $6 billion United States dollar to the Philippines.
Wow. From remittance.
For remittance.
Imagine that coming to Liberia. Wow.
Yeah. In my article, I tried to do a comparative analysis and say, for example, we train 1,000 Liberian seafarers and we deploy them on sea with a minimum wage of even 500 United States dollar. The minimum wage right now is about $690.
Yeah, $690.
That's the bare minimum without overtime and all of those things.
For ordinary seamen, for OS.
Yes, OS. So imagine you just multiply 500 by 1,000, and it has to be incremental, right?
Of course.
So if you got 1,000, because seafaring is such a way that you have 1,000 deployed on both vessels, you need to have at least 1,000 on standby.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the person is coming for show leave or vacation, another person replacing it. You see that?
Yeah.
That's the multiplying effect of seafaring. So I just wanted to close on that.
Yeah, so definitely. So Liberia we got a lot of potential in terms of creating jobs for our youth. That's why your article said, and we try to do the question in a way that one of your questions I have been answering a lot of the questions that I have here that I've been asking you. You get what I'm saying? So we strongly believe that seafaring can play a very good role in creating employment and helping national development as per economic transformation of our country. So before we go to the next question, ladies and gentlemen, our fellow Liberians, you can go ahead, please share our live. There's a very important topic. We are talking about the Liberian maritime sector and how seafaring can help and bring in economic transformation and bring in a great employment to our young people, to the youth and young adults in Liberia. Not just only because seafaring not only have to do with working on board the ship. There are even show establishments that also require seafarers to work. So we believe that when this information, the propagation of this news, this information go out there, the government or policymakers or stakeholders will try to throw more light or put more attention on the maritime sector, just the way we are advocating for that of the agriculture sector to, that can create a lot of jobs and things. So like I said, today, as you can see on the screen, we have in studio here, Mr. Dolakeh, EMMANUEL MEZOH DOLAKEH, seasoned maritime professional. He's a graduate of the World Maritime University and also a graduate of the Regional Maritime University. And he also has some seafaring experience. And he's been talking to us about the article on that he published on seafaring and how it can create a national transformation here. So, Mr. Dolakeh, I just try to say that so that some people that just joining us that don't know you and can know exactly who we are talking to and what we are talking about. And so I just wanted to choose a small light on the issue of, because when people look at seafaring, the thing is only going to the big ocean. They don't look at domestic maritime program. You get me? Like in other countries, they have all of the rivers. People do riverine navigation. They do all those things, and those things have the propensity of creating jobs. You get what I'm saying? It can create jobs. It can also create revenue. For example, you have in America here, you see all of the river, like Delaware River and thing. We pay money to go on those ship, and you get me to take you on the river. We have on those recreational ships. We get on them. We pay money, $100 to $200 for short voyage, bro. Short voyage, 1 to 2 hours, you're done. They bring you back, and they take you to sightseeing, take you to the place. You have party, you're chill on board there for 1 or 2 hours. They bring you back, $200 gone, bro. So that sector, our local, our domestic maritime, I think it also has the propensity or the ability to create employment too. And you get it? But looking at Liberia, we are not seeing a lot of attention being drawn there. What do you think? What are some of the recommendations you can provide that you think that can able to help people invest into our local or our domestic maritime program that can create also jobs? It can create recreation. It can also encourage tourism, in the country. So what you got to say about that? How you think we can improve that our sector too on that?
Yeah, so thank you as well. In as much as we focus on the international scene, mostly on vessels, ocean-going vessels, international vessels. But it's important as well to also look at the domestic sector.
Yes.
I know our domestic maritime industry is still developing.
Yeah.
The countries around us, even right here in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone has a vibrant domestic inland and coastal shipping program than us, and so the potential is huge. I would say is impacting that, of course, is integrated to the broader domestic economy. So, for example, just take for an instance, wherein we had the southeastern part of Liberia, where we have bad roads and all of those things, you will realize that we had a lot of vessels, or a few vessels along our coast, trading between Monrovia, Buchanan, and then to Water, Greenfield, and then Harper. Because otherwise, it's like the southeastern part of Liberia was completely cut off. Because you cannot access that by road, then it is only by ship. And so, let us, though the industry, the domestic sector is not developed, however, the potential is huge, right? Because globally or nationally, we have about 90 or so percent of trade coming by way of the sea.
Yes.
And when you are speaking of the domestic program, to let us not isolate Liberia's case with the rest of West Africa or Africa. Because if you look at Europe, for example, whereas our population may be small and we may not have that kind of potential to just trade in terms of maritime trade within our country, but the potential to trade with Sierra Leone, to trade with Guinea, to trade with Ivory Coast, and the
Yeah.
rest along the coast is huge.
Very
And
huge.
Africa
Very huge.
has not
Yeah.
even scratched the surface.
Never.
Yes.
We haven't even
So
tapped it.
nothing. So imagine, and it's very good that you brought it out. Imagine if we focus, given our strength in ship registry, if we try to diversify
Yes.
our activity or divert some of the resources from the international program to developing a domestic program. Imagine how we'll be positioning ourselves to contribute to African maritime trade.
Yep.
So the potential is huge. So right now, the domestic sector is not developed. I know one key challenge we have in the domestic program, because we still do have a number of local seafarers, whether serving in the tugboats. Those are boats, for those who may not understand, those are boats normally in the ports, service boats, and they help the go out for the bigger ships, and they help to guide the bigger ships to come and berth input before we get our goods from those ships. So they call them tugboats. We have some of our Liberians working on board the tugboats or the paddle boats and all of those. So they are seafarers. One thing we have as a challenge is that in our national insurance program or under the labor law or so, we haven't really placed or considered factor in seafarers. So
Yes.
one thing we have to fix.
I
Because
tend to agree with. Yes.
yes, if other people are working and remitting pension or whatsoever social security, we should have similar things for seafarers. And under the Maritime Labor Convention, for which Liberia is a signatory to, we are under our obligation to provide that facility for seafarers as well, especially seafarers resident in Liberia. So again, just to answer your question, yes, we are not there yet. We are far from being there, but the potential is huge. And the sooner we start to develop that space, the better it is for us to monitor in terms of the economic, I call it a potential impact on our country.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked that question, Dolakeh, I see in it, we in the maritime sector that have traveled around the world and see other countries, especially the domestic maritime program, is booming. In fact, some countries' domestic maritime program is booming more than the international one. Some countries. So I sat down and said, you know what? Looking at Liberia right now, our country right now, our domestic maritime program, our domestic maritime sector, that's a sector that is a money-making thing. Especially now, we can call it that's a virgin sector. Nobody is tapping into it. I sat down, one of my business partners, I was sitting down, was trying to look into, because I remember, I think somewhere in Marshall, there was a domestic vessel bill, right? Liberia had built our own domestic vessel, right?
Yes, we have, yeah, sure.
Cool. So imagine that one we build is for the ocean. So that means when you building it for the river, you get me, you even take less effort, because that one is just for recreation. You know what I mean? Bulk of the open or water where people can have a party, you can have wedding reception, you can have birthday party. Like the kind of yacht, the way they build those things. You get me? So imagine people that got some money, small money, that will come together, 4, 5, 6 maritime professional that can build. And because our rivers, St. John River, St. Paul, all the rivers, they are navigable. You get me? It's just certain part of it, but you can create that kind of situation where people can go for sightseeing, people can go on board the vessels, and go to various waterfronts and things and move about. People can have their wedding anniversary on those things. People can have their party and things. So I'm saying this to encourage Liberians that are looking for sectors to invest, because I know there are some Liberians around the world, some diaspora Liberians, that 1 or 2 of them have contacted me asking for places that they feel they can put investment that can bring money. If people that are looking to investing in our local maritime program, our local maritime sector, building your boat. You build a boat. You can even build a boat in Marshall, the way the other people, they build some there. You can build it build it anywhere. They can build a recreational boat where people can get on board. They go on the river. You don't really paying it for the ocean, you're paying it for the river. Even though you meet some requirement and thing, you have to be certified by the Liberian Maritime Authority. But when you meet the requirement, you can build those boats and it can create, that's a money-making thing. I'm telling you, bro, we got on a boat here, I'm telling you, in a place to get on the Delaware River. $2, man, $200 you pay. And guess what? It's not even, there's a sailboat, and the sail not even on it. I just sit down and look, I sat in the thing, I look at myself at that, I said, God, look at the people making the money for this thing. And we got our rivers. Look at our scenery views. You know, when you go on the river, you can see some nice views in Liberia. You get what I'm saying? You can see some nice, people can go as far as the waterfall until you look at those things. In America, when we get on the boat and thing, it take us to the Statue of Liberty. It show you the Statue of Liberty, it show you the Empire State, that's at all. And we have those kind of sites in Liberia that we can get on our local boats and move around. And you know, people can use that for birthday and things. So I'm only saying this to encourage Liberians that want to invest. You're looking for investment to do. To build you that local boat in Liberia is not going to be too expensive. I can promise you. It's not going to be too expensive. But the amount of money you will get, you will not just be making money. You will be entertaining people. You will be getting new, and you will also be creating employment. Because our local seafarers will start getting jobs too. Are you getting me? So I just decided to show a little light on that part that like I brought also you can know there are a lot of potential. You can use it for transporting goods. Sometimes look at the traffic. Sometimes you have to move from Freeport to go to West Point, see the traffic. Imagine we had a boat there. You get what I'm saying? You get a boat that can take 25 to 50 people. You ease the traffic right there. Just right there you can cross as a ferry. Cross from there, you go. People get down and just walk about the business. They don't have to go and be waiting for traffic. So there are a lot of potential that we can involve ourselves in, we can invest in the maritime sector. So I just decided to throw light on that before we close on this part. Is there anything you want to talk about that section before we go to our final session? Because I'm planning for around 1:30.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yes, please, let me throw small light on that. So the domestic program, like I said, we should not, yes, it's not in isolation in terms of the region or the continent. And the sooner we position ourselves, the better we tend to reap the possible maximum benefit from any whatsoever returns that our services will be provided to other countries around us. And so, for example, let me just quickly highlight the statistics. There was a study, a complementary study done by the Economic Commission for Africa on the impact of the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Yeah.
You have the free trade agreement in on the continent that encourages African countries to trade amongst each other with little or no tariff also. So it's like you're trading in Liberia, you'll be trading in Guinea or other parts of Africa as if they say you are trading within Liberia. So they try to reduce the burden and the challenges as much as possible so we can trade among ourselves. So from the complementary study conducted by the Economic Commission for Africa on the impact of AFTA agreement when it's fully implemented, they are saying that for this to be done, we would need maritime transport will increase by 62%.
62%.
62%.
Wow.
That means that's compared to, for example, road transport. They say road transport will increase by 8%. They say road transport will increase by 22%. And air transport will increase by 28%. So maritime alone, that's 62%. So the emphasis on maritime transport is huge for the implementation of AFTA agreement.
Yes.
In numbers, it means that Africa by 2030 will need not less than 100 vessels trading just among ourselves. You see that?
And we have the engineers. We have the engineers to build up vessels. We
Yes,
can build.
I'm saying this to also hone in where you talk about shipbuilding, right?
Yeah.
Thing is something we've started doing. It's not something that we decided we have regulation around from the very beginning. It's something that started being done, and then later we started to put regulation. Maritime, the Liberia Maritime Authority is putting regulation around that. It's a good thing
Yeah.
for us.
It's a
We will
good thing.
continue to support that because
Yes.
if we do well in that, it means that the 100+ vessels that we need in Africa to ensure the scrupulous implementation
The
of the
free
AFTA
trade.
agreement
The
can be
free trade.
built
Yes.
right here in Africa, especially in Liberia, if we position ourselves soon to attract that chunk of the investment. So it's a good thing for which currently there's a ship being built in Marshall that is around 1,000 gross tons. That would be the biggest ever built in Liberia. And it's up to international standard.
You
Even
see?
the classification society that is working with the ship owner to make sure that the ship meets international construction standards is from Greece. So we are getting there. I hope we can. And again, I don't want to be biased, but I know working with the Liberian Maritime Authority, the current maritime commissioner is very keen on expanding the domestic sector, attracting investors when it comes to shipbuilding, when it comes to ship recycling, meaning when the ship has lived its useful life over the period, where you have to demolish or destroy the ship. That's the shipbreaking yard. It can create so many jobs as well.
So many jobs.
So
Yeah.
Commissioner
Yes.
Councillor Ito Zaza Lai is keen on that, in showing that we shouldn't just focus on the international registry, but we should, like you said, we should develop the domestic maritime program, not just shipbuilding, but ship recycling and even eco marine tourism. You mentioned we
Yes.
got so many beautiful places along
Beautiful,
our coast.
beautiful places,
Beautiful
my brother.
places.
Beautiful places.
We can build simple boats with very that can operate in very shallow.
Shallow water, yeah. I think the Dolakeh internet is tripping. That is Liberia for you. But ladies and gentlemen, I think you guys are following the show. I think for some of you guys, I think there's a very interesting topic. The Liberia Maritime Program. Look, the program has a lot of potential. It's a sector for investment. I can tell any Liberian, if you have the opportunity to invest in the domestic maritime program, you will become a millionaire like this. Imagine you having a boat. Imagine you having a boat that can take 25 to 30 people, that they can go on board and have party. Dolakeh just Joshua, you will come back, I will bring it on. That they can go and have birthday party and have wedding anniversary. And, on our rivers, where they go, where the vessel just navigating around, and then you seeing different sites, taking you to all the waterfall, we will pay $200 more in America just to go and see Sunday called Statue of Liberty. I'm telling you. So our Liberia maritime sector, the domestic sector, is a cash cow that is laying down there. And to build those domestic boats is not expensive. It's not too expensive. And you can build it and make it look nice. People can rent those boats. People can get on board those vessels, and then they can be able to recreate themselves. You get them, especially during the dry season. People can go there, have party on the boat, and go and chill. We did it. We went on board. Even some of them even go on fish on the river to go fishing. People get by the fishing lesson, will go fishing, will catch some fish from there. So there are a lot of potential within the maritime sector. Let us not look at just the international one. Let us not look at Liska. Let us be able to, okay, Dolakeh is back. Let me eye him. But man, what going on? That loan start trying you or that second? Can you hear me?
Yes, a lot of clear. It was a little technical English.
Okay. So I was just letting the people know, and the kind of potential that our domestic maritime sector can bring about. People looking for area to go and invest. They get cash cow laying and red down there. Brother, that's a very, very good sector. And I'm telling you, I would say that about a year, that's one of the areas my investment is coming to focus on now. And you get me? We've been doing it behind the scene, but we're going to focus on our side. And I will come on the show out there and say, I will show you my vessel. I will say, you'll see it there. It's a recreation vessel. You'll go have party on it. We're going to invest in our sector. We're sitting here talking most of the time on the show. We not just come here to criticize. We come here to show a way forward. We come here to provide recommendations. Liberia is our common denominator. We all should focus on ways we can create jobs in our country, where we can create economic return, in terms of cash return to the country. That is the only thing we can do to help our country. Living in America, you can't live here forever. Living in Canada, Europe, and things, nowhere like home. Your $5-10 invested home. Well, when you go home, you can stand and look at your investment and shake your head and say, yes, I did it. You get what I'm saying? So, Dolakeh, I mean, we cover a lot on the journal. We understand we can't cover everything, but I just want us to take the five minutes of our time and to wrap up, and we'll talk in wrapping up. We'll talk a little bit about the new how call it, the inland port and the inland port regulations that is regulatory framework document that is currently on the deck of the president. And like I said, let us sign the disclaimer again. Everything being said here is said from an individual perspective. Don't say Mr. Dolakeh say EMMANUEL Maritime have said it, or he representing like Maritime Authority, or he representing any institution. No, he's giving his individual and professional opinion on anything that is said here. So nothing here can be used against him, and because of SYZ thing. No, it's just from experience, from training, and from international best practice. That's why we are having a discussion on that. That will bring in that topic even later on, because this was all about the article and how seafaring can help. But it all intertwined, because when you look at the new regulation that is coming, that is already on the president desk for signature, if it's signed, it has become a law. And when it becomes a law, it is binding. It is binding on everyone. So we that are in the maritime sector, if those regulations, if we can speak out some things that can help and guide policies maker, that can help and guide people that are decision maker, in terms of making the right decision that will help the sector, that will help the maritime sector, that will help Liberians to grow. I think it is expedient that we do that. And it is important that we talk about that. So, Mr. Dolakeh, having said this thing, I know you have been opportune to see the regulation. I mean, the new regulation that we all. I read through it. I even wrote a piece of article on it and thing. So I just want you to give me your opinion, your individual opinion, from your professional standpoint. And, in general, just summarize you think. What do you think about that bill? What do you think about it?
Thank you, Mr. Sibo. So the Sea and Inland Ports Regulatory Bill, or Act, together with the decentralization component. So there are two acts. Basically, my personal opinion, again, this is my personal opinion view with regards to having looked at the two bills. I think there's some misunderstanding somewhere.
Okay.
There's some misunderstanding somewhere. Then that's why when I spoke to you earlier, I wanted this to be not a debate, but a conversation. I know you are the moderator, but I wanted to be a conversation where you sit in between. Then we have, to have the best for your country.
Yes.
You need to have the best minds, especially in the case of these bills. People from the maritime sector, maritime experts, from the two different views, to sit together and discuss and debate.
Yeah, and that was the plan, right? So I'm not cutting out. That was the plan, to bring in because we got pool of maritime professionals. We know we got more than 30 maritime professionals in Liberia that we all know. A lot.
Yeah.
You know, that was the idea, to bring people in the discussion. And, you know, people give their opinion on it. But we understand, you know, Liberia, the way Liberia look, people are afraid to protect their jobs and other stuff. But even though I told them it's not going to be a political issue, I was just going to be playing the devil advocate and, you know, asking the question, and then we go into the discussion. But nevertheless, we can still give our independent opinion on it, void of government institution. Like we say, now for who we work for, we're giving our own professional thought based on best international practices, based on the research that we have made. So we can speak about that, you know, in couple of minutes before we can call the show.
So, like I said, there's a confusion that we have to give some little clarity to first. Proponents of the bill seem to argue that the National Port Authority is to some extent indivisible from the Freeport of Monrovia. And I think that's a wrong basis. So if you read the Public Authorities Law, whatsoever creating the National Port Authority, it is clear that the National Port Authority will manage and operate all the ports.
Yep.
The Mainland, the Freeport of Monrovia, the Port of Buchanan, Greenville, Harper, and any other such ports that will be created. So, by that, it puts the National Port Authority as a central, maybe quasi-like regulatory body to manage and operate those ports, right? Notwithstanding, the current existing structure, maritime and port governance structure in Liberia, is not too different.
Yeah. We are still having some issues with the internet with Mr. Dolakeh. So, I mean, as the discussion was going, you guys were seeing where we're heading. We are not trying to be political here. We are trying to be professional in giving our professional. Let me see. Keep on studio. Let me keep the one out. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll get you back. I mean, the internet. Don't worry. The internet warning you now. It say it's almost time for you to go. Can you hear me? Did I get you there? All right. So when the internet gets strengthened up, I'll show you the other response. So like I was saying, right? We as maritime professional or any professional within a sector, if you are a healthcare practitioner or a healthcare professional, if there is a regulation, did I get you there? When you're there, just let me know so we can continue.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was in flight with regards to the misunderstanding with regards to mixing up the role of the National Port Authority with the Freeport of Monrovia, for example. So the National Port Authority was created under the Public Authorities Law to manage and operate all of those ports and any other port that may come up tomorrow, right? How, in that light, the current maritime and port governance structure in Liberia is not that too different from other jurisdictions around here.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the Liberia Maritime Authority. The port is at the end of the maritime transport node, right?
Yeah, the very end.
Yes. So it's end to end. The port of departure, the port of where destination. So the ships are in between there. It's part of the maritime framework. So generally, you expect maritime under the maritime framework, of course. Under the United Nations, we have a specialized body called the International Maritime Organization.
Yeah, the IMO.
It's a technical body, international body, the IMO, that sets what? Global maritime regulations. It regulates the global maritime sector. So the Liberian Maritime Authority, being a designated authority in Liberia that is represented at the International Maritime Organization, that has over 50 plus different conventions that Liberia is signatory to, for which we are under obligation to ensure that those conventions are implemented and enforced in Liberia across the post-state, flare state, coastal state jurisdiction. It wouldn't make sense for the Liberia Maritime Authority to play that regulatory role when it comes to the implementation and enforcement of those conventions.
Okay.
So that's why currently, when it comes to whether the International Port Facility Security Code, the ISPS, when it comes to the International Maritime Dangerous Goods, when it comes to reception facility in terms of garbage being brought on board the ship and being disposed of in Liberia, and so many other conventions that we can name here, Maritime has the expertise to ensure that those conventions are implemented and across Liberia, specifically within the ports where international vessels come. If we don't do that, our posts will not be in compliance, for which ship owners may not want our vessels to come here, or they will feel that they will think that our posts are too risky in terms of, and once a post have been viewed that way, the insurance costs shoots so high. And the insurance costs go so high, it impacts our people negatively in terms of the pricing.
Yeah.
So we should be very careful when doing those things. So Maritime is already in a position to providing a regulatory oversight over MPA. However, MPA is also there when it comes to other aspects, especially the economic and infrastructure aspect of the post. That's why they are landlord. They help the post to manage, the very post to manage that. You need that body.
Mm-hmm.
What I think we should be doing, we shouldn't like the president rather said, we should not bring about new laws that will weaken or create regulatory overlaps that will further weaken the existing institutional framework that we have. Rather, whatsoever law should be meant to strengthen the existing institutional framework. In other jurisdictions, don't they have a standalone Liberian Maritime Authority playing similar role? Don't they have a national or port authority playing similar role? We have it. We have it in Nigeria. We have it in South Africa to some extent. We have it in Ghana. Ghana has a Ghana Post and Harbor Authority.
Yeah,
they have it. The role that NPA is playing. And Ghana has a Ghana Maritime Authority playing similar role that Liberian Maritime Authority is playing here.
Yeah.
So what I think we should do, let me just lay on this, is that personally I think it has been a problem as well. MPA should detach itself from the Freeport of Monrovia, because some of the proponents claim that MPAs is intertwined with Freeport of Monrovia, giving instruction to other ports. I think it shouldn't be that way. I even think that MPA should even be headquartered.
That make this session a little bit interactive, right? So when you look at it, because it's called the National Port Authority. NPA is the national port. So that means all ports, not just Freeport. Freeport is just one of the ports. Exactly. You get me? So, I mean, just while you are trying to say that, for me, for international best practices, what we can do here, you see, like in America here or other places, that probably just go to places where it's practicable, right? You can have the National Port Authority that is sitting and functioning independent of Freeport Monrovia, independent of Buchanan Port. You get what I'm saying? So they have the authority that will, the work of the authority is to have supervisory, to play a supervisory role. And you get me? To be able to oversee the operation of those places, but it's not directly being in control of those entities. You get me? So international best practice for what I think in the article that I wrote, I published on Facebook. And it will interest you to know that I took my time, wrote a whole article on Facebook. Go and check and see how many persons have read it. You get me? Go and see it. How many persons have read something that is going to affect our country negatively. How many people? But guess what? If that was someone a Muppet video on Facebook or someone I knew that have leaked on Facebook, you will see thousands of people watching it, thousands of people commenting on it. But things that is interesting to our nation, they don't look at it. They don't look at it. By the end of the day, when the decision is made and the trigger down effect comes on the people, then they say, oh, government. But these are things that can be curtailed from the very beginning. So in my article that I wrote on when you read the article, like I said very clear, then that act, if that act pass, it's going to create a parallel structure. You get me? It's going to create a parallel structure to already existing institution. And you don't want that. And the president, in his wisdom, he saw it, and then he said that we should be creating laws that will strengthen the ones that we have. Instead of creating new ones to come and add more confusion onto the ones that we already have. You get what I'm saying? So I just decided to point that out, and as you mentioned that on it. So go ahead. We are listening.
Yeah. So I think what we think should happen, the institutional framework we have, Maritime is playing its role. NPA as the central regulatory body to manage and operate those ports. We think that they should NPA should detach itself from especially the free port. So we strongly think that the National Port Authority or the various ports, whether the free port of Monrovia, the port of Buchanan, the port of Greenville, the port of Harper, should have some level in accordance with international best practice and best I call it market NON capital market. They should have some level of administrative and economic NON financial autonomy.
Autonomy, yes.
You cannot maybe, for example, the port of Buchanan, they want a particular maybe computer or something. They do have to. They need to have their own budget. Author book, for example. They need to have their own budget, which has been prior approved maybe by the board. And once it's approved, the manager or the port director at Buchanan Port or Freeport he or she should be clothed with the authority to ensure that budget is implemented. And then you can have the same NPA, the National Port Authority, having oversight in terms of whether auditing purpose and all of those things. But it should be given some level of freedom in terms of administrative and financial to run their own autonomy,
operational autonomy, this ability to function as a revenue generating entity.
Yes.
You get me? Yes. So that means because if the port is functioning as a revenue generating entity, the port will function as a business entity, not as a political entity.
That's it.
You get me? It will function as a money generating entity, not as a political entity. All the politics can go to NPA. Your national port authority that will just be there to oversee that one. You can carry your politics there. But then the port by itself will have to run as a business. You get me? We'll have to run as a business. Already.
Just talking about that, just to interject. You see, for example, the APMT.
APM terminal, yes.
APM terminal, that's a terminal within the port there.
Yeah, it's just one after the port.
You see how they are run?
Yeah, pure business.
Pure business. And so, for example, you have the port of Buchanan on its own management, even though the overall national supervisor will be the National Port Authority. But the port of Buchanan will be pushing to develop itself so as to be in a competitive position compared to Freeport or Greenville Port. And through that competition, the public will benefit because prices of those goods commodity will drop. And as opposed to just forgetting about those ports and then they're just doing their own thing, I think that's the way we should proceed. And that means we don't have to touch We don't have to introduce new regulatory body to confuse anything.
No.
What we may have to do, if need be, maybe to look at the act and maybe amendment or something to strengthen that the president said, to strengthen the existing institutional framework, not to disrupt the whole thing. Mind you, sorry, Mr. Sibo, let me just close on this, right? On this particular note. Mind you, you mentioned initially we started talking about the international program or international ship seafaring, right? Yeah. And then you brought it down to the domestic, what impact in terms of the domestic maritime trade. Mind you, whatsoever we do domestically, given our strategic position in international ship registry, if we mess up domestically in terms of our maritime regulatory framework, it has adverse impact on our international program. A case in point, 2019, we had a Nico Ivanka going there. It's a domestic vessel that was built in Liberia, trading domestically. When that vessel sank, and international news carried it impacted to some extent our international program, because the international program is being run on high quality standard. So having a local vessel that was not seaworthy in that kind of condition, even though it was detained by maritime, and then something went in between that the vessel had to leave port, and then the vessel sank, it has some negative and implication on our international program. And so we should not talk about the maritime and port governance framework within Liberia in isolation of the international program. That's why when the president mentioned about disruption of the maritime program, we shouldn't dare do that. If we want to make sure that those posts operate independently, they can be done, where MP will still have like regulatory supervision, but we should not do anything that would destroy our country and put us further back.
Definitely. Mr. Dolakeh, I think can you see? Are you seeing the comment? Can you see the comment? Yep. I just posted a comment. Are you see? Okay. So this comment is from one of our many good followers, Esther Nima. She said, decentralizing the port risks fragmenting national maritime governance, weakening regulatory coherence, and undermining Liberia's obligation under the international maritime frameworks, including those of the International Maritime Organization. Port operate within a tight and integrated system of safety, security, environmental protection, concession, and investors' relations, which depend on centralized oversight for legal continuity and accountability. Abrupt decentralization without strong, let me put the comment, the next one, without strong decentralizing the port risks fragmenting national maritime governance and weakening regulatory. So, in short, what you're trying to say here, I think we understand that. If you just bring in another framework, it's going, just what we've been talking about, it's going to have an adverse impact on current existing framework that we already have, and it's also going to trigger down to International Maritime Organization, our obligation to International Maritime Organization as a senior maritime nation. So, Esther, thank you so much. I guess you've been following. Your comment is very necessary. It's exactly in line with what we're saying. And we need more of this kind of interaction from our listeners, our followers, so that you can be able to provide information on things, because this information you provide, other people that will be having that will watch the show later or read this comment will be able to understand what we are talking about. So we really, really appreciate your comment. There are a lot of comments you put here and everything is good. I show that at the end of the day, other people will be able to follow exactly what we have been saying. So Dolakeh, go on. I just want to point that out.
Yes, so from the technical standpoint as well, if you delve into the sea and inland post regulatory act, many of the provisions you will you will find out that yes, they're saying that the regulatory authority they are putting together, the Sea and Inland Post Regulatory Authority, should collaborate with or should assist the Liberia Maritime Authority. From the president first veto communication is sent to them, encouraging them not to take on the Liberia Maritime Authority's functions. By doing that, will weaken the maritime governance and disrupt our program. So they went back to play with it a little bit, but in actuality, they didn't do anything much to change it.
Nothing changed.
Yeah,
They
nothing
didn't
changed.
Because that was
that's why.
That's a big
Yeah.
something that's what people go and address.
That's
Because
why.
yeah, look at the thing is very simple. Honor our current the National Port Authority out of 1967, right? As amended, it says that the MPA will own, the MPA will manage, they will operate, and they'll develop all public ports in Liberia, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at it and including the Freeport Monrovia, the regional ports, the MPA will do that. So if you look at the act and you leave the act and go and create a parallel structure, you taking all the authority from MPA and giving it to the new structure. So how does that work? You're going to have a conflicting framework right there. So
No, what I'm saying, when they do that, they want to dissolve MPA. For what reason? The people are doing the same thing. So what you do is to strengthen everything. Especially you from the legislature, if you think that MPA was meant to do X, Y, Z, and MPA is not doing it, fix it.
Fix it.
You have the oversight power. Fix it.
Yeah.
But not to create new parallel entity just to dissolve MPA, even though they'll be doing the same thing. What sense does it make?
It don't make any sense because that's just a whole brand you're going to bring about. And even the new one that they are bringing in, you can see a lot of loopholes. When you read it, you can see a lot of loopholes. Creating another, I know, a 7-man committee that will be able to run the entity, and it doesn't make sense, right? So sometimes I was asking, I said, when they were creating this thing, when they were drafting the document, what was there any like maritime institution in Liberia or maritime, were they involved with the crafting of that new act? Were there anything?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, because there's one of the things, right? When you try to come up with something within the sector, I think it is very, very expedient to have those various entities, those various stakeholders within the sector to come and give their expert opinion on how things should work. It's not just to come from the blue moon, come and create a new law because in the name of you are legislator or you are a senator or you are a representative, you get authority, you just come and do it. And I'm happy that the president is taking a keen look at those things because it has the ability to cause a serious problem. Because I made mention in one of my podcasts, I said, look at the APN terminal deal. A lot of people saying Liberia was a lot of people saying it. And it was not one of the best deals that Liberia could get involved with. We could have gotten a better deal with APN terminal. Because now look at port charges. Things are getting expensive. People can't even bring stuff. You bring one car in the country, you know how much it costs? I got 2 cars sitting in front of my house. I want to ship it to the bill, but I'm thinking, how am I going to ship it? How am I going to pay? You get what I'm saying? So these are things that we should look at when we are determining this kind of regulation. So that's why I decided to bring this out on this. So, I mean, at this point, we've already gone 2 hours. So, Mr. Dolakeh, I want you to give your concluding statement on this. And we can still come back some days to have this discussion. And, so you can give a concluding statement on this new regulation so that it can stick in the ears and reach out to our policy maker, our decision maker, our lawmakers that came out with this regulation. Just summarize exactly what you have said so that strong words can remain in their ear while we part our ways.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sibo. And so on these acts, I was about to specifically mention, for example, in the body of the act, they started fine from the very beginning. The end concluded also very fine, but in the middle,
that was
so many confusion. Yes, in the middle provisions. I don't know whether it was intentional also, but yes. And so they concluded that I got in a lot of ways the new regulatory body will liaise with maritime authority and assist or collaborate, whatever words they use. But in the repeating session,
Mm-hmm.
in the same functions which they said that will be collaborating with Liberia Maritime Authority, it will be assisting, it will be liaising. In a repeating session, they took the same function for maritime. So how will you take the function from the people you'll be collaborating with them?
I know.
So again, it's my parting comment with regards to the whole act. I strongly, my personal opinion, think that the various ports should have some level of financial and administrative autonomy, which will be good for our country, will be good for pricing, will be good for economic development, and all of that. However, let us strengthen the existing institutional framework. Let us make sure that those two institutions, be it the Liberia Maritime Authority, that is providing regulatory oversight for all the IMO, the International Maritime Convention, specifically the IMO conventions, as well as the National Port Authority, like you rightly said and read in the act creating them, that provides that oversight in terms of managing a port, operating a port. But that oversight or regulatory oversight should not go so into day-to-day operation.
Okay.
We should be able to separate the two so that those posts, individual posts, should have some level of financial and administrative autonomy. Even to the MPA will still have regulatory oversight over them. It's not strange in what is being done in Liberia. It's not unique to Liberia. It's done in Ghana. It's done in Nigeria. It's done in other jurisdiction. You have the Liberia Maritime Authority. You will not even have what they call National Port Authority or maybe a National Port Regulatory Body. The Maritime Authority does net everything.
Yeah.
So I was even better for decentralization.
In Chile they are called they call them that the transport. Chile is called the National Transport Sub. It covers everything. When you go there, it covers everything. And then you'll be surprised.
The Maritime and Coast Guard Authority. They do that everything.
And you'll be surprised. Chile, as big maritime nation as it is, right? You know the Chile transport is being controlled by the Navy. I was like, wow. Yes, it's the Navy that control that section of it. All that transport, that include water transport, and air, all the things. When we visited the Chile maritime transport thing, I seen so Navy officers all over the place. I said, but is that a Navy base? They said, no, the Navy control them. I said, wow, look at sense. You know what I'm saying? Look at sense. So you put everything together, you centralize it and get one thing. And all these things, it also helps you in terms of putting a lot of wage, creating a lot of wage bill on the government. And now almost how many % of our money go into salary? How can you do development? And all the kind of things it can cause a lot of problems. So wrap up with Dolakeh so that we can.
And then lastly, that particular operation and management operation, they put all the regulatory oversight. It should be purely within the powers of the executive branch.
Okay.
There's no way you want for members of the county caucus whatsoever to appoint people to the board. You are providing in terms of oversight, lawmaking representation oversight.
You won't be the referee, you won't be the player, and you won't be the VAR. The VAR is your own be everything. How you can do that?
It doesn't work that way. It's not good for our country, so we should not encourage that. Let's if it costs, we need to amend or also existing laws to strengthen the existing institutional framework. Let's do that to make those institutions effective. And so, Mr. Sibo, I want to thank you so much for what you have embarked upon in terms of especially sharing particular spotlight on the maritime sector. I think we need that more than ever before,
Yeah,
so
we do.
as to inform our people on happenings in the sector. And again, it is our civic responsibility as
Yeah,
responsible citizens, given the wealth of education experience we have, to keep our people engaged and informed. So I want to appreciate you for inviting me on your platform, and pray that in whatever way we can support you, you can count on us. We will show that this platform keeps working in informing the Liberian people in a way that you have envisaged. So thank you again for the opportunity, and I know I will always come here to share, discuss more topics, and
definitely.
but I'm humbled to be here on your platform, especially for the first time. Thank you for what you do. Thank you.
All right, folks. I mean, Dolakeh, let me say, thank you, brother. I will tell you the truth. I know a lot of maritime people, like getting people on the platform have been a challenge, and I understand. I know their anger. I mean, their point from where they speak, but it's not every discussion. You see, the discussion we had today was strictly professional, from professional angle. There's nothing political about this. So but I appreciate you showing up on the platform. There are a lot of comments there after the show. Go the reason of the comment, you'll be able to see in the on the post on my page. You will see some of the comments that are there. You'll see that there are people that have been following. So
I hope they appreciate it.
oh yeah, they do. Yeah, everybody appreciating the discussion. You got a lot of fans there too. When you go, you read the comment, you see a lot of fans. You got a lot of fans, and a lot of maritime professionals too that are commenting on the post. And and there will be a lot more that will come after. A lot of people comment after when they watch the show by themselves. So on this note, let me say thank you for coming, and I appreciate that you honor the invitation of coming to share light on the maritime sector. That is one of the biggest sector we got to create jobs in Liberia. And when the government pay keen attention, and it will only happen when we begin to throw spotlight like this, and, having the kind of discussion on it every time. And, I will create another topic again where we can talk about our local maritime program, what we can do to strengthen it, to make it look big, to encourage our partners and investors into the sector. I will come up with a show that we can talk about that on it. But on this note, I want to say thank you, my brother. I really appreciate you coming. We take a lot of your time today. I know it's very late to your side now. You gotta get ready tomorrow, that church day or something. So I appreciate, and I do wish you a very good luck in your journey, and in a maritime profession. We know you can't go back to sea again, but you can create policy that will strengthen those that will go back to sea. So we appreciate. We say thank you, my brother, and God bless you. Thank you, bro. Yeah. So, folks, there you have it. The conversation today was very, very, very interesting. Like I said, a lot of Liberians, a lot of people don't know what the maritime sector, what maritime is about. And maritime has the ability to create more jobs, like the agriculture sector in Liberia. Everybody running the government job. If you get maritime job, you make far more money than even your minister will ever make, than even your deputy minister will ever make. I can promise you that. So it is incumbent upon us as professionals in the maritime sector, in the field, to encourage, to keep showing light, to keep enlightening the government, enlightening policymakers, decision maker in our country, so that they can pay some attention, a little more attention to the maritime sector. And this sector is capable of creating jobs. So on this note, I want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for following all of your comments. Please share this show on your page. For those of you, just share it on your page. People will watch them later. People will give their opinion, will give their comment on it. We want to say thank you for coming. Your support has been the one pushing us, has been the one carrying us through everything we do. We're not doing this because we want pay. We're not doing this because we want job. We're doing this because we want to see Liberia getting better. When the country get better, we all will laugh. We can go out and knock our chest, say I'm a Liberian, and people will say, yes, Liberians are doing well. So please share the thing, give your comments, subscribe to our page, Liberian Voices Unfiltered. We are on Facebook, the same name, Liberian Voices Unfiltered. On Instagram, Liberian Voices Unfiltered. On TikTok, Liberian Voices Unfiltered. YouTube, Liberian Voices Unfiltered. Subscribe to our channel, follow our page, so we can have more followers and have more people listening to some of our program. So we say thank you and God bless you. Have a rest of a good day, good night, or good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you. Bye-bye.